Hey everyone, it's Cindy and Stacy again. We're here to talk about more memories of our childhood as we were growing up. Um, and we're still talking about our pawpaw. As we discussed in an earlier video, his birthday. What year was he born?
I'll have to look that up. We
Um,
talked about it in another video.
yeah, I think we did, but I don't remember.
1914.
1914. Gosh.
Mm,
So that would have made him 110. Of course, he died when he was like 64. Isn't that what we said? Yeah. Yeah, because I would be, 50 years he's been dead. Or will be. And
1914 to 1975.
yeah, yeah. Well, he died when I was 7, and I'll be 57 in August. So, yeah, 50 years. But anyway, so obviously we don't have a whole lot of memories of Papa, but we do have memories of him. And so we're going to talk a little bit more about our Papa. Probably we'll have some Mama stories in there too. And
You
Stacy.
scooted down to my warm spots right here.
Are you sure?
Yes, because the beach is warmer right here, so now one leg's colder.
Well,
Anyway.
I didn't think I did because I thought I was more in the center, but Anyway, Stacy has a memory that she wants to discuss in particular about our papa. Well, maybe two, or we'll just see how it goes from there.
Yeah, we'll see what tangents we go on.
Yeah. So,
well, like I said, I was not 5 yet when he died.
You wouldn't have even been close. Well, yeah, if I was 7.
If he died in 75.
You were born in 70.
So I would have been. And if he died in July.
So I would have been almost 8. I thought I was on the lower end of 7. But I guess I was almost 8.
Yeah, and I was almost 5. But
okay.
So I didn't have. I mean, they lived right down the street from us, and I remember us going down there quite often, like in the evenings.
Mm-hmm.
But one thing, we talked in the last video about his chair that sat to the left of the sliding glass door.
Yeah.
And I remember he would, how parents will take, or I don't know if people do this anymore, but back then, I guess we didn't have as much to entertain us.
Probably not.
Cross the legs, one over another.
He would sit like that.
Yeah.
Anyway.
But he would ride me horsey where I would sit like kind of at the bend of his foot and leg coming together, and he'd do his leg up and down, ride a little horsey down to town, get some candy, don't fall down. So that's one thing. I would always ask him to ride me horsey.
Talking about him sitting like that.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know who else sits like that?
Who?
Luke.
Really?
Mm-hmm. A lot of times. He don't all the time, but there's a lot of times he'll sit like that.
Speaking of, I know this is not a memory. This is a hopeful future. Crystal wants her baby, which we're still waiting on ultrasound confirmation for both these.
Yes.
Haley's being a girl I'm a little more confident in because supposedly these blood tests they do measure circulating chromosomes of the baby in the mother's bloodstream, and after 6 weeks or so, if it's a boy, it'll pick up Y chromosomes if it's a boy.
Mm-hmm.
So, but there's more margin of error for a male because it could be a cross contamination getting into the blood. But
yeah.
So I feel like if it says boy, unless you do it,
you gotta take it with a grain of salt.
I feel like if it says girl, unless you've done it too early for the circulating, which I know Haley's wasn't done too early because she had hers.
She had hers done in the doctor's office too, right?
And it was after Crystal did hers, and she's like 3 weeks farther along. So anyway, her blood test said girl. Crystal's blood test that she did at home with a home kit said male. Well, it said it's a boy. So, But Crystal next week will have an ultrasound.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be a 4D. It's not this one that she's like paying extra for, but it's at the doctor's office. But
Yeah.
they should be able to confirm gender. And I forget. I feel like if Haley had gotten the confirmed gender ultrasound already, and she told me when it was going to be, but I can't remember. But anyway, all that say, Crystal wants her little boy, if it does get confirmed. She wants it to look like Alan and Joshua and Luke and Corbin have that blonde hair. That's what she's hoping her little boy looks like.
Well, because Juliana and Aurora's hair was always brown, right? Aurora's is a little lighter than Juliana's.
But not now. It's almost the same color. But yeah, there's never what when Crystal was born at birth, her hair was darker. Mm-hmm. Not like black, but kind of a reddish blonde. But then, by the time she was a year old, she was white-headed.
Yeah, all of our boys. Yeah, well, Lauren's hair was never blonde. Her hair, well, naturally. Lauren's hair was lighter when she was little, like a light brown. But
or maybe dark blonde.
I would call it more of like a light brown because it was a golden brownie blonde color. It's hard to describe, but anyway, her hair was the older she got, probably by the time I know by the time Daddy died, her hair was about the color of Daddy's. It was brown, but it had that little slight red, like streaky.
I don't feel like hers had as much red as Daddy's did.
No,
and me and Crystal were talking the other day.
She had some red kind of highlights, natural red highlights in her hair.
And I always thought Daddy's hair was brown, but it was really almost just a super dark auburn.
Yeah, yeah. So anyway, so that got off on Luke, which got off on hair color of kids. But we were actually talking about memories of Papa, and that just popped in my head about Luke sitting that way, which is kind of funny because we told the story, I think, on the last video about, and we may not have, but
the based in tongue.
Yes, did we?
I don't remember.
I don't think we did actually. So
I don't know if I can do it on command.
Oh, I know I ain't. I'm not even gonna try to do it on command. But when our papa would build houses, the story was he'd be on a ladder and he'd be concentrating on what he was doing. So when he was concentrating, he would stick his tongue out to the side, kind of didn't even realize it. Subconsciously, is that what you would call
subconsciously?
Subconsciously would do that, and so then I had noticed as I was growing up that whenever I was thinking really hard, and I find myself still doing it at work sometimes, or even when I'm like playing a video game or something on my phone or whatever, I will find sometimes that I do that. And in talking, do you do it too?
I don't think so.
Okay. I know in talking to my cousin Dana and I believe Bobby and Kevin that we all tend to do that. So we call that the based and tongue. I don't know if there's anybody else in the family that does that, but
I would be willing to bet Reed does it.
Maybe.
And maybe Grayson.
Maybe. So
I don't know why those two. I guess because they have the based and look.
Yeah.
But I take more after Mama's side family, so I may not have gotten that trait.
Yeah, because I actually do look more like Daddy's side because I feel like that's what I was just fixing to say actually. And there's a picture that was at Grandma's house, and I never even realized it until one time when I was an adult. I was at Grandma's house. And I seen a picture of myself, and it was when Mama had cut my hair real short. And I looked at myself in that picture. Oh my gosh, I look like Mama. And I feel like I probably, out of all of the grandkids, probably look the most like my mom. Dana probably second most, maybe.
Probably.
But out of the rest of them, I don't feel like any of the rest of them kind of look so much like my mom.
Of grandkids.
Yes.
But now Daddy definitely, I feel like, favored the Allens more than he did Baston's,
Yes.
as far as looks go.
Yes. Yes.
And I guess Uncle Norman, to an extent. I feel like Uncle Bob.
Uncle Norman and Elledge, to me, looked a lot alike.
I always thought Elledge looks more like Daddy. Daddy
Well,
looked more like Elledge than Uncle Norman.
No, maybe it's. There's a picture, one of them old pictures that I put on the reunion thing where one of them, I don't remember if it was Hugh or Paul or maybe Uncle Fred, I don't know. But one of them, Uncle Norman, reminded me somewhat of.
Well, I feel like Uncle Bob looks more like Baston, true Baston.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Than Daddy or. And would you say Aunt Jan looked more Baston or Alan?
I don't know. Aunt Jan was always so glamorous looking.
Yeah, yeah. But and what about Aunt Barbara? You would say Baston for her?
I think she looks more like my mom. I think she looks more like my
I guess
mom.
I'm going by her hair color being more.
Well, her hair color was Mama. I mean, when Mama got older. You know how Mama's hair kind of started getting gray.
But it was reddish gray, and Barbara's hair was.
It was black.
Yeah,
her hair color, yes. Her face.
That's what. Yeah,
face more. Her face was more like the Allen side, but her hair color, yes.
And that's why I say Uncle Bob is more Baston, but he definitely had Allen in him because.
Oh yeah.
But I'm saying. I'm saying the genes were strong in him because of the way Kevin and Reed
it's the
and Grayson.
It's the angular jaw.
I don't know what it's.
Papa had to me that angular jaw, and the darker hair, and yeah, and something with the eyebrows, possibly.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know why I had to demonstrate eyebrows.
For those of you that don't know, these are eyebrows.
But, yeah.
Also, and I'll see if I can pull it up. I'll have to look on like Crystal's Facebook or mine or something.
Talking about Michael.
The picture of Tammy Wynette.
Oh yeah,
that looks like Crystal looks like.
Yes.
So.
And did we decide she was on the Allen side?
Yes.
Okay. Yes.
Well.
No, she was, because the reason I say that
Flora.
is because Georgette came to.
Okay,
well, who was Flora? I thought Flora was on the Baston side though, but Georgette came to the Allen reunions. That Georgette, meaning Tammy Wynette and George Jones's daughter, Georgette, she used to come to the family reunions when we were kids.
I think she only came a couple of years.
Yeah, it was
2
only
or 3.
A few, but we enjoyed playing with her. I mean,
yeah,
we had fun.
Let's see.
I probably like the last time she was at one, I think she might have been like 9 years old or something. And that sticks out. I think that was the same year that Dana had her appendix out.
I don't remember Dana having her appendix out.
Yeah, she had to. There was a reunion. She was at the reunion, but they had brought her one of those chaise lounge chairs to sit on because she had just had appendix surgery. So
I don't remember all that.
Yep.
I'm having to go way back, but there is.
Well, I got it on mine too.
You got the picture of Crystal looking like
Yeah.
Tammy or the picture of
Well,
Tammy
I don't
Wynette
know. You
that
know
Crystal
what?
looks
Because
like.
Facebook took a bunch of my pictures off.
What?
Yeah, you didn't hear about all that? But
Mm-mm.
yeah, somebody had posted it, and I went back and I started looking at my pictures, and mine actually only go back to August now, I think. I don't know what happened, but let's see.
Well, I hear about stuff like that Facebook, and I always think it's some kind of scam.
Well, I do too, but I just went directly to I didn't click on anything. I just went directly to my pictures, and I noticed that they were gone. So
I have to go way back.
anyway, we need to quit. We need to talk. So talk about your other memory of Pawpaw while you're doing that, and then I want you to talk about Michael when he was born and the picture.
Oh, okay. Well, my only other real memory I can think of with Pawpaw was maybe him sitting at the head of that big table at my mom's, which I guess it was probably about the size of this table. Come think of it.
I bet Mama's was a little longer, probably.
Um, but yeah, I mean, I don't. It's just like I said, I have very few memories of him.
Here.
Um, and what else you said? Oh, now I don't know why you want me to talk about this about Michael when Michael was born.
The picture of Daddy.
Oh yeah, don't you have that on the wall in there?
I think I do.
You talk. I'll go grab the picture.
Okay. So I'll start telling the story a little bit. When Stacy's son Michael was born, and we didn't think about it. Well, first of all, when he was born, he ended up, which we didn't even realize, they were supposed to have went home the next day, and
He was
or
born,
not the next day that he was born.
He was born on August 10th. We were supposed to. They asked me on the 11th. He was born like midday. They asked me on the 11th, did I want to go home? And I'm like, no. Because I just didn't want to.
Yeah.
But anyway, that very night, he ended up having to go to NICU. He had a heart condition, and
Which, when they were like nurse, he was turning blue, wasn't he?
okay, you want to hear the whole story?
Yeah, give the whole
Let
story.
me get a swig because my mouth will get dry. Okay, so Bill and Kim,
Well, you ain't got to do all that.
well, they had been visiting and they had stayed for a few hours.
Yeah.
And she had just been holding Michael, and he had slept the whole time. Well, I was nursing, and I didn't want to be rude and say, hey, y'all leave. And as long as he wasn't crying, I thought, well, he ain't hungry. So, but as soon as they left, I was like, well, he's got to eat. I got to nurse him. He wouldn't wake up. He was just like, so I had remembered in some childbirth class, prenatal classes or something, but they said, if you need to wake your baby up to feed them, unwrap their blankets because the cold will, jar them awake. When I unwrapped the blankets, from his elbow to his fingertips and from his knees to his toes was so purple it was almost black. And we called the nurse. And she said, his colors doesn't look right. He didn't look right. Well, 15 minutes later, we still had not seen anybody, so we paged again. We hit the nurse call button again. And so it was another 5 or 10 minutes. The nurse came and she said, I'm going to take him to the nursery and check him out real good. She was just super calm. She said, I'm just going to take him to the nursery
That's what
and check him
I
over.
remember most about this story.
Yeah.
I mean, not the most, but
I'm going to check him over real good. And she was just super calm, and she had kind of like listened to him for a second with her stethoscope, and then so I'm like, not I mean, I can get up and down, but not fast and all. And I told Chase, I said, go with her. And he said, what? And I was like, go with her. And he said, by the time he got to the door to go out of my hospital room, she was flying down the hall, pushing that little isolette or whatever they call them things that they keep the back. She was flying. Said by the time he got down to the nursery and could look in the window, said there was nurses and doctors all around him working on him. And what they ended up doing, they filled a glove, like a exam glove or whatever, with ice and put it on his face. That shocked his heart. What his heart rate was 286 beats a minute. And they said he's got to go NICU. We don't know what's causing this. And so we're going to let you go down and we're going to get him settled. You're going to go down and then we'll just give him bottles tonight. And so, and you go back and you get some rest. And so went down and they came over and they were like, I don't know if they had actually diagnosed him yet, but they ended up.
I don't think they did. I think it was like a day or two.
No, it was by the next day. Okay. It was within a few hours, and it was probably that they probably hadn't.
Did we not come to the hospital that night? I felt like we came to the hospital that
before
night.
he went, and y'all went home not knowing anything was wrong.
I think after he went.
I don't know, but anyway, so they got him down to NICU. They took me down in a wheelchair. And they were like, okay, well, we don't know what's going on. We're going to do an EKG. We're going to send it to a pediatric cardiologist at UAB. We're going to start him on antibiotics because we don't know. We don't know, and so we're just going to start him on antibiotics and blah, blah, blah. And the NICU doctor, Dr. Mina, I remember that, the NICU doctor himself, because I had just taken like a pain pill like right before all that happened. The NICU doctor, not my doctor, ordered me a sleeping pill. Said, you go back to your room, you get a good night's rest. We're gonna you get some sleep. We've got him. We'll take care of him. We'll let you know if anything's needed. But he's fine. He's gonna be fine. We just don't know what's causing this. But he reassured me and said, I'm gonna order you a sleeping pill. So I go back to my room and they bring me the sleeping pill and I take it because that's what they told me to do. And I wasn't that young, but I was still young enough that I didn't question a lot. But anyway, and they said, we'll give him bottles tonight. Okay. And like an hour later, I was trying to get sleep, but I was so, anxious about what was going on. I couldn't. They called my room and said, please come and feed this baby. He is screaming. He will not take a bottle. So I ended up having to go down and feed him. But anyway, he had a condition that ended up getting fixed later on, but he took medicine.
He has a rare heart condition that he had surgery for at 8 years old, and he hasn't had any issues since then.
Mm-mm. It's called Wolff-Parkinson-White syndrome. He had an extra AV
like a pacemaker or something.
Your heart's natural pacemaker that keeps your heart in rhythm. He actually had an extra pathway that they went in and did an ablation to
burn it
out. And as far as we know, he hasn't ever mentioned any problems. But anyway, sometime between the time he came home from the hospital,
within a couple of months, anyway, for sure.
Yeah. A picture was found of my daddy.
I don't know whose lap he's sitting in.
Probably my mom's.
It looks like a man. It looks like a...
No, it looks like a tweed. If you look at the neck,
okay.
it looks like... So anyway, this picture
Yeah, get really, really close.
and get the glare.
Glare off of it.
When Michael weighed 7 pounds and 1 ounce when he was born. He was born
They
just.
probably gave him steroids too, didn't they? No?
He didn't need steroids.
Okay.
What do you think wrong with his lungs?
No. I didn't know if they might have gave him steroids too. I didn't know if steroids help your heart or what. But.
So anyway, when he was born, he wasn't classified as premature because he was 15 days early, so 1 day shy of full term. He was. But then for some reason, once he went down to NICU, because he was that 1 day, 15 days instead of 14 days, they classified him as premature. He was the biggest baby in NICU. He weighed 7 pounds and 1 ounce. But anyway, he came home from the hospital. They put him on a beta blocker 3 times a day. And then when we left the hospital, we had to go to the cardiologist's office. He was born on Monday. He got discharged on Friday. We went to the cardiologist's office after we left the hospital, and then went home. But then, like the next week, we went to regular pediatrician's office because they had said pediatrician would because his medication was going to have to be adjusted based on his weight, and so we went to the pediatrician's office. He's like, "Yeah, just stay at this dose." He said, "We'll see him back in 2 weeks and just see if we need to adjust." So we went back in 2 weeks, and he weighed 8 pounds. He had done gained a pound by the time he was a month old, a whole pound. And then he said, "We might better see him back in 2 more weeks just to see." Well, he had gained 2 more pounds. And he gained a pound a week from the time he was a month old to the time he was 4 months old. So sometime around when he was this chubby little baby, like,
well, that's not him. That's our daddy.
This is not him. But when he was so his little fat chubby little baby self gaining a pound a week, he looked like that, and that was my daddy as a baby.
He kind of, in a way, like he has. It's more grown now, but he still has a little bit of a baby face.
Oh, if he were to shave his beard, he would look like he was 14, probably. I don't know if that's why he keeps the beard or if it's just because what's in style now, but which he never was big on shave. I mean, like when he first started getting whiskers, I guess he shaved some, but he's never been a shave every day because beards were in style, this big beard. So, but yeah, you can tell like above his cheeks that he would be, and Chase has got a baby face.
But the funny thing is, though, now he does have that beard and everything, that I went to Canada a couple of months ago in November, and when we were coming back, because we went through like Tennessee, and because we wanted to go to Washington D.C. and we wanted to go to Gettysburg, so we just went a different route than what would be our normal straight route to Niagara Falls is where we were going. So we went through Tennessee and went up and off. So when we came back down the way we really should have went. So when we come back down, we decided that we would. Trying to think, did we go straight to? Yes, we did. Okay, so we come back down through Ohio, and Brian, my husband, wanted to stop at the Woodford Reserve distillery to take a tour, which we ended up not getting to do. But anyway, we stayed at this hotel in Kentucky near the Woodford Reserve. When we checked in that night, we come back down the next morning and we're checking out, and the guy, I had to do a double take because the guy at the front desk looked so much like my nephew Michael. I was like, "I'm sorry, but I have to take your picture because you look just like my nephew." And I showed him a picture of my nephew who had just gotten married, and the guy says, "He's a good looking dude." And the funny thing is that several years ago I went on a ladies' retreat in Gatlinburg, and I went to Paula Dean's restaurant, and there was a girl. I felt kind of weird and strange, and I probably should have apologized to her. But there was this waitress there. She wasn't our waitress, but I kept looking at her because she looked so much like Crystal that I kept looking at her.
Well, they say everybody's got a twin somewhere.
Yes.
But me and Michael both have like this real common face that people think they see us.
Yeah.
Our faces are very common. Michael says people tell them.
But that dude really did look like Michael.
Yeah. But I mean, I had a girl argue with me one time that she had just seen me up the road. It was when I was working at the Y. She said, "How'd you get here so fast?" I said, "We talking about I've been here." She said, "I mean, I didn't even know her."
Mm-hmm.
She said, "I just saw you like up the road talking to somebody."
Yeah.
I'm like, "No, I have been here." And then one time I was at Walmart and a cashier was like waving me over. And, yeah, that's rare at Walmart. And she said, "Why weren't you coming through my line?" And when I got closer, she said, "Oh, you're not who I thought you were. You look just like my cousin."
Huh.
I'm like, okay, don't know if it's the same person.
Here's the picture. Well, that's not showing up very well. I think when you angled it down. Okay, there it is.
It's a little better. It's still very. Tilt it that way. No, like tilt.
Okay.
To get the glare off of it. See if you can move it back to where it's more centered. But keep it tilted to tilt towards me.
Anyway, that's Tammy Wynette holding. We don't know who she's holding.
Probably Georgette. Or it might have been one of the others.
It could be. Tina would have been the next oldest, I believe. Anyway, that's Tammy Wynette. And then here is, well, that's probably a close picture. Wouldn't you say? Of Crystal to that?
Probably.
Yeah. And so here's my niece.
You're going to have to do the same thing because that one's even brighter.
Stacy's daughter. And so Crystal made a post one day. I don't know who that kid is. Who is that kid?
I don't know.
Anyway, that's Stacy's daughter, Crystal, and she made a post about how she didn't realize how much she looked like Tammy Wynette. So,
but yeah, she could have been almost Tammy Wynette's twin in that picture. I mean, she just looks a lot like so, I guess.
Yeah.
Crystal gets the blonde hair and blue eyes. Now tell me if this is because I was trying to remember. We had based in Warren mama's side, based in daddy. We have more cousins on daddy's side, but one side you are the only one with blue eyes, and one side I'm the only one without blue eyes of cousins. So does like Johnny and Holly and Mike all have blue eyes?
Mike probably does. I don't know what blue eyes.
You would think Holly would have blue eyes with that red hair. Red or green. Anyway. What color eyes?
Well, Dana has brown.
Oh, then you're the only one with blue eyes on daddy's side. And I'm the only one without on mama's side.
Okay.
And Crystal was talking about, heredity and stuff, and it's like, I said, well, Mama had brown hair, dark brown hair. Daddy had really dark auburn hair that looked brown. They both had brown eyes.
Mama's hair was blonde when she was
little. Well, Daddy's was too. Daddy's was blonde up until teenage years, I think.
Yeah.
I said, but, Cindy got blonde hair and blue eyes. I got darker hair and hazel eyes. So we neither one have the same color eyes as Mom and Daddy.
Yeah.
Or the same color hair.
Yeah, because Mom and Daddy, both of their eyes was brown.
Mm-hmm. So it's weird how genetics.
I didn't know this till here recently, but Allie and Luke are both left-handed.
Really? Well, we're trying to.
Lauren, Jason, Allie, and Luke are all left-handed.
Well, that makes it convenient when they go out to eat, then, I guess. I didn't realize. Let's see. Mama had 5 grandchildren, and Crystal's the only right-handed one. But I didn't realize until as Michael was like going out to eat, you couldn't sit. Like Michael couldn't sit on this side of me because our elbows would hit each other trying to eat.
Yeah.
So he had to sit. So we were, and like when he played soccer briefly as a kid, he kicked the ball with his left foot. When you go to double doors that you could open either one, he pushes the left one.
I want to say, and Brian could probably verify this, but he's not here. But I want to say that all of our kids batted right-handed.
Maybe. But Juliana seems to be right-handed, but we notice Aurora sometimes using her left hand.
I think Christopher said one time he was ambidextrous.
Really? We just really hadn't figured out Aurora yet. in so many ways.
But she loves her Aunt Cindy.
She does. And she loves her Aunt Cindy. She talks about
Juliana loves her Aunt Cindy too.
But here's the Aurora thinks, because Aurora's only been here when there's big family gatherings.
Yes. Well, except for the time that they came.
Yeah, but she don't remember that. Yeah. I figured out she thought everybody she saw here lived here. And then when I told her, she thinks Allie lives here, and Luke here lives here, Corbin lives here. I'm like, no. She said, well, then who lives there? I said, Uncle Brian, Aunt Cindy's husband. She said, it's Uncle Brian's house, too?
I thought it was funny that what Crystal posted. Oh, and I wanted to say something about Allie and Luke. Or not Allie and Luke, but Allie. But I thought it was funny what Crystal posted here a couple of months ago on Facebook about how Crystal would not let her watch a show. And she said, well, she would just come to my house and watch it. Or was going to be coming to my house soon, and I would let her watch it or something like that.
There's no telling.
Do you, well, I know you do remember, but tell everybody, Allie was my first grandchild, and she's the oldest of all of that generation of cousins. And we don't even know how she come up with this. And Allie was slower to talk, because she's special needs, and so she has some issues. But we would call Stacy Aunt Stacy to her, but tell everybody what she called you.
Towel.
We don't know where that came from.
Well, the funny thing is, I stayed at Lauren's a couple of nights after the fire, and every time I would go straight in and take a shower because we'd been digging through stuff and I was filthy with soot and stuff.
Yeah,
so my hair would be up in a towel.
You think that's where she got it from?
But I mean, I don't know how she would have.
No, she was a baby. She was only a couple of months old.
I know.
I mean, she wasn't even a couple of months old. She was not even a month old.
No, she was weeks old.
Yeah.
But it was ironic that, because I remember saying, she's going to think this is, she's never seen me without my hair in a towel. Mm-hmm. And then when she was old, I was keeping them one night. Well, just her, I guess. I was keeping her for some reason, and she was calling me Towel.
Alan thought that was so funny.
Alan,
if
it crosses his mind, he says, no, it's not Aunt Stacy, it's Aunt Towel. Get it right. I got a tickle in the back of my throat. But anyway, is that what you were going to say about Allie?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Because we probably need to Once again, we didn't talk about Papa that much.
Well, but we did talk about him, and
but
we'll have more stuff about.
But yeah, we
were actually going to talk about like when we were growing up with our cousins, which we did touch on a little bit of cousin stuff in.
But everything we tell is a memory.
Yes, yes, and sometimes it's a wrong memory for one.
Sometimes it's a more recent memory. Sometimes it's a misremembery, mismemory of things we either don't remember correctly or we don't remember the stories we were told because we weren't even there in the first place. So, but you know,
and we're gonna talk about when our kids were little too. I feel like,
and when we were little.
Yeah. So anyway, I guess we're fixing to wrap this up. Stacy has to leave to go to her son's house. She's going to do some cooking for them, and
well, he's going to work on my car.
Well, true. He's going to work on her car, and she's going to in return cook for them. So anyway, you got anything you want to say?
I don't guess. We need to come up with something.
Till next time?
We need to come up with a tagline or a sign off or something.
Yeah.
You know, Paula Dean's was loving best dishes.
Yes.
But we're not loving best dishes.
We'll come up with something. But until then, we're just plain old people, so we just gonna talk plain.
We're not professionals. Don't try. Well, I guess you can try it at home too. But anyway, we'll try to not make so long between and try to get some of these posted so people can actually see them.
Yep. All right. Bye bye.
Stay tuned.